Peace, ahaba, love that is. I am Joy with Pearls of Joy, True-Truth. Today I am going to be talking about clock time is not the creator's time. Clock time is the instrument created to mimic the vibrational frequency of time by tracking the sun pattern as it rises and sets from one dimension to the other. I did a video titled Number 9, Universal Perfection and Completion, subtitled Zero is Not a Number. In that video, I spoke about zero and how zero was used to manipulate and shift the numerical 1 through 9 system. Here's a little side note. I want to make a point of the fact that all numbers are perfect and complete in their own essence. But 9 is the universal number of total completion. 9 is always an equation of 36, 36 hundreds, 36 thousands, millions, billions, infinity. In this video, we are going to explore the count of days, hours, minutes, and seconds according to the clock instrument. And I got questions and some answers. Are there really 7 days in a week, or are there 9 days in a week? Each week consisting of 4 9-day weeks per month. 4 times 9 equals 36. I'm going to do another video where I will have some visuals that you can take a look at to prove what I'm saying here about the 4 weeks and 9 days each month. And even that term weeks, we're going to talk about that too. Are there really 12 months in a year, or are there 9 months in a year? We will get into those questions with some analysis of that, and then we can decide and determine what it really is. What is a day? There are 2 segments of what is called day. Daytime is time that starts with the rising of the sun, and nighttime is dark time that starts with the setting of the sun. Biblically, in Genesis, day is called light and dark is called night. Clock time is not the creator's time. Clock time is the instrument created to mimic the vibrational frequency of time by tracking the sun pattern as it rises and sets from one dimension to the other. The clock has an hour hand, a minute hand, and a second hand. When I searched out the meanings of those terms, hours, minutes, seconds, and seasons, I learned that the term hour from Strong's Concordance is sha'ah or sha'al, from the root corresponding to H8159, and it says properly, a look. That is a moment. H8160 is King James Version usage, hour. At that meaning at that same self time. And as I understand that definition, it is saying that an hour is a moment. When we look at the clock, let's say it's 4 o'clock. It's only 4 o'clock for a second, marking that hour, that moment. How long is a moment before the moment or the hour starts to progress? I say 9 seconds after the clock, according to the clock system, hits that mark where it says 4 o'clock. Right after that, the next second is 1 second, and it is should be 9 seconds in between the so-called minutes. I regress. I'll come back to that too. But let's keep in mind that we are talking about the man-made clock instrument, not the real vibrational frequency of the sun movement. My question is, was moments changed to hours? And were seconds changed to create minutes? The term moment from Strong's Concordance is H259, meaning one, first, only, each, 11. I don't know what that means. That one time, that moment or hour is the only number that can be distinctively looked at. Seconds means double, second, again, other, a second time. And that is in Strong's Concordance, H8145. I must ask another question. Are there minutes in an hour, or are there seconds in an hour? Were minutes another concoction used to misconstrue time on a clock instrument? Even more, minutes have, according to the definitions that I've searched, minutes should not have anything to do with clock time. Minutes are used in settings where people come together in meetings to discuss plans or create an agenda for future endeavors. In those meetings, time is documented to explain what took place in the time frame of that meeting. Seconds are intermittent like a heartbeat, drumming again and again to fulfill the cycle in concert with the vibrational movement of the sun trucking across the atmosphere. When I compare this to other things in nature, such as a normal heart rate, according to the general medical industry, is 60 to 90, and there is that 9, depending on if you're standing up or laying down, moving around or sitting. Mayo Clinic, on the other hand, says a normal heart rate is 60 to 100 for a normal resting rate close to 40. These estimates are used in the medical industry and are used to diagnose heart conditions. But is it accurate? In my opinion, through some experiences, I think those estimates are used to diagnose symptoms of abnormalities if the heart rate is too low or too high, according to the calculations of Mayo Clinic's estimate of what a normal heart rate range is, which is, they say, 60 to 100. It seems as though the estimate ranges of a normal heart rate is between 60 and 90. In this study observation, I shall conclude later on with more evidence proving that 9 is the universal number of completion. We have been taught that there are 24 hours in a day. Is that really so? If there are 24 hours in a day, why is there only so-called 12 hours on a clock? The numbered clock starts with the hour hand at the top with the number 12. And it cycles downward from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m., a total of 6 hours. Then it goes upward from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. again, another 6 hours. Each number on the clock represents an hour. Example, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, etc. How is it that we have 24 hours in a day, but the clock only displays 12 hours? And I'll say one more thing. How and why is it that when day breaks forth, it is the clock is saying either, say, somewhere between 6 and 7 o'clock, but it is a new beginning, a new day. So when the day break forth, it seems to me it should be 1 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. But I digress. There's tons of information on the internet and other places explaining how 12 hours are displayed on a clock, but it is accounted as 24 hours. And I must say, It doesn't make much sense to me. Let's do a synopsis of the man made clock system. The clock instrument divides time in half equally as an equinox on a circular instrument, splitting day and night down the middle, causing daylight time to be displayed on the right side and dark time on the left side. Wouldn't it make more sense for daytime and nighttime to be separated vertically in the center, separating light time on the top and dark time on the bottom? Why? Because the sun rises at the beginning of the day from the east, vibrating over the top of the earth, going down below on the west side at the end of the light time of day. The expression o'clock refers to clock time, and I'll quote from a site that I retrieved back in April of 2020. I did this study years ago, and it's at thereasonjunkie.com, and it says the expression o'clock refers to clock time. It's 9 of the clock, which later became 9 o'clock. If you care to learn more about the clock system, I suggest starting with the sundial, created by the Egyptians. That is one of the more accurate timepieces, if you will. You can search for the article titled in the Britannica Encyclopedia, and it is titled Sundial. I mentioned foreigners as the originators of the clock system to make a point of the fact that the clock system was not in place in our original lands from the beginning. I reiterate the reason for this study observation is because all things are being restored as well as true time. It is my hope that we will come back to understanding that the originals of these lands of America and others understood how to naturally know and predict the vibration of the elements of nature long before the foreigners came with their instruments. I will quote from a book I have titled Basic Herbs for Health and Healing by Rasheen Abdul Hakim, also known as Rudy Duckett, on page 19, titled American Indians and Herbology. And I quote, "The Indians learned the value of everything in their environment through their instinctual sense and by living in close harmony with nature. They told time by the plants, the sun, and the stars, and forecast the weather with great accuracy. They drew exact maps of their surroundings without the aid of scientific instruments. I see many discrepancies in the foreigner's clock system. Clock time is not in true concert with solar time, nor according to manipulated methods. Human made clock time is an illusion of time that is sometimes hung on a wall or wrapped around the wrist. That was designed to keep the eyes of the mind in tune with the illusion of time. The clock time instrument disconnects us from nature and our natural ability to vibrate instinctively with nature's true time. The clock system was designed using numbers and symbols to calculate and count hours, minutes, and seconds, to set a system of days, weeks, months, and years. And our days are not named. Uh, our days are not. The days are not named. They are numbered. But the foreigners gave the days names. So the same is so for months. There's only one month in the year that has a name. The rest of the months are numbered. The foreigners had a masterful plan to control every system in the world, including time, making it their own, as in ours, without the H. In other words, our own time. The clock is also designed with other divisions depicting noonday, midday, evening, and midnight. Day can only be seen and calculated during the daylight time. The moon cannot be seen every night. The moon is used to count months. Months is the root word of the word moon. And in this observation about number 9, I always use the example of the in nature how a female carries a baby for 9 months, and if you were to watch observe a female when she's pregnant, every month her belly grows a different size. When a new month comes in, her belly starts to grow more, and by the time that month, that new moon, that well, that's not the new moon, but I'll get into that. But once that month is over, she has grown a whole nother size. So I am going to end this right now, and I am going to come back, and I hope you will tune in and look out for the next video that I will do, where I will talk about noon, midday, evening, midnight, along with some other things. So thank you for clicking in. Thanks for listening, and hope that you will continue to come back. Peace and love.